She was pretty thick for a Boston chick. I don't know how far that goes though. Like I know what New York thick and I don't know how Boston thick is. Yo, you don't know what it is. It's public service announcement. It's never a safe space. We only do it for the culture. We never do it for the industry. What's going on, guys? How are you?
Great.
Exhausted.
Mentally or emotionally, so?
Both. I mean, I'm not physically exhausted. It is all mental and emotional. Yeah. My heart is heavy, y'all.
It has been a rough week. We have some RIPs to give out.
Let's introduce ourselves first. How about that?
Let's do that. Yo, I'm Robbie Digital, aka The Culture, aka the late one but the great one, aka Bohemian the Dream, aka let's see, I'm 32 and I like a freaky 45. Michael Jordan Major. Most of you niggas are Harold Miner. I'm here. What up? Bohemian the Dream is new. Don't ask. It's just Bohemian the Dream.
I am Lion Goodman, the Lion of Bed-Stuy, also known as Lion Ass Nigga, Lion of Shit, Lion DiCaprio, Lucius Lion, Hair Free, Carefree, LMDs, and yeah, that's about it. I was gonna get sappy, but let me stop.
It's your girl, Little Mayo, aka Petty Slimane, aka Mother of Mixies, Mother of Models. Still here.
Telfar Don.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
Telfar Don. Just making sure.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Goodman, I'm gonna let you take this. I'm not gonna. This is all you. So I don't want to. I feel like if anybody needs to do this, it is you as a representative and a citizen of Wakanda. This is very important.
Yeah, I literally, that is my background. It was so crazy. I woke up. I usually pass out from like smoking or something, and I woke up in the middle of the night, Friday night, and I saw Chadwick trending, and I saw that he died, and I was like, yo, what kind of fucking game is this? Like, this is an awful thing to say about somebody, and it turned out to be true. And there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, you're talking about somebody who had an instrumental part of something that I've been invested in for a third of my life with the Marvel Cinematic Movie Universe movies, and his incredible portrayal of Black Panther. He is the reason why 2 movies are like in my top 3. The crazy part is, you know how we've had discussions about, yo, is Black Panther that good? And like last month, I revisited that movie. And yeah, I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I think that he brought such heart and soul in depth to that movie and his commitment to that role that he is my hero. And that expands beyond just this one role. This man played Jackie Robinson, James Brown, and Thurgood Marshall. He also was Thoth, the Egyptian god. I mean, nobody saw that movie because it's terrible. But I mean, like, yo, he played an Egyptian god, and I bet you he brought such class and dignity to the role. Mm-hmm. And then you look back over this man's life over like the last 2 years at least, where he is shaking the world with this performance, and he is meeting with kids who are also terminally ill, all the while battling cancer, stage 3 cancer. There's also this existential moment where, as a Black man, you're encouraged to start getting colonoscopies at 45. Due to some familial stuff, I will start getting colonoscopies at 40. Chadwick was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer at 39. And you're talking about a medical industry, a medical community that's just historically not treated our bodies with respect, not treated our body, given our bodies the dignity that they deserve. So it's like, I got a physical this week just to see, just to get blood work done. And I had a conversation with my doctor about that, about potentially starting it earlier than 40. So it's been a lot. I just say I hope that I pray that he's resting in peace. The work that he is let out in the world, at least with the last 4 years, and with this posthumous release from Netflix, that he has brought such joy to my heart, and really taught me about taking every opportunity that you can to be kind. So that's my spiel on Chadwick.
I think the biggest thing for me is the closest black superhero I had as a kid was Robert Townsend as Meteor. That was the closest black superhero at the time that was like really important to me. And like, although people took the movie as a joke and didn't take it that serious, I remember as a kid watching Meteor Man and was like, my God, it's a black superhero, and like he has powers and he can fly and he can move stuff. I wanted a fucking Meteor Man toy. That was the closest at that time I had ever seen a black superhero. Even with Blade was still considered like an anti-hero as a kid. Like it wasn't even it was rated R. Like it was very gory for me as growing up. Even Spawn. Like all those heroes still had a very kind of like dark undertone to it. It wasn't anybody who really was in a light where it's like, yo, everybody wants to be this person. And as much as my heart goes out and, he will be sincerely missed, I feel bad for the children who got to see a real superhero on screen. And not just a one-off movie either. Like they had real moments with Chadwick Boseman. Like they watched Civil War, and then they watched Black Panther, and then you watched Endgame, and then you watched, and like they had real moments to watch a character develop and connect with him, which is really interesting. And it's scary and it's saddening because I remember that moment. Like I was revisiting the Jimmy Kimmel video when, people were walking up to the poster, speaking to it. And the things that they were saying, it's like when Black Panther came out, for all the jokes that we said it was like Lion King to what Goodman was saying, we all connected at that one very moment though. Time stopped and we all connected. Nationally as Black people. Globally. Was like, yo, we have to see this.
Globally. And
then globally we all connected. There was a certain degree of pride and sincerity, even from people from Africa that went to go see this movie. Even if they didn't like the accents, if they didn't like the outfits, if they felt it didn't match, there was a certain degree of regalness that it came to this movie, even in watching it. And then it to be recorded on Tyler Perry's studio is another big deal in and of itself. So it's a loss all the way around.
I just said that I thought it was cool that overall, like, I think we always talking about people going too soon, and we still feel like, he did go too soon. Like, he only died. He was only 43. There's so much other life to live, and we have so many Black heroes that are still making movies well into their 60s and 70s and things like that. So it sucks that he had to go so soon. It sucks that, that he didn't get a chance to really reveal his disease and like be able to help other Black men to really be more preventative in their health and more proactive in their health initiatives, and like, this is a killer for Black men, and talk about it more, that he really supported cancer and things like that, but he didn't really get to share his own experience with the world and be able to help others who maybe were dealing with it or feel seen. And then also to the fact that like, I like that at the end of the day, that even though he didn't get to die older and gracefully and us honor him, like we honor Cicely Tyson and like we give honor to Denzel and certain people, at the end of the day, that he's always going to be remembered as a king. He's always going to be remembered as King T'Challa. And I think that's kind of cool that like you play this role as this royal Black man and you're always going to be remembered as a king. I'm sure that you know, even though we know now that he hasn't been, the movie wasn't shot yet, but we know that like in his hometown they're going to make the statue, that there was a Confederate statue that they were having a back and forth about taking down, and now that the city has approved that in South Carolina, that they're going to put a statue in his hometown for him. So I'm like, that's cool. I think that's just like great that like you're always going to be remembered as this king. You're not going to be remembered just an actor. You're going to be remembered as a king, and I think that's like a great thing.
Also, to shout out not only Meteor Man, Rob, but Blank Man, and how special like that movie was. And it came out, you know, around the same time as Meteor Man, you know. So just to shout out both of those movies that really, you know, gave little black boys and girls like a hero that wasn't a comedian.
Like I mean, even with Steel, like I remember Steel, but I was like, nigga, that's Shaq. Like I didn't look at it, like I didn't. It was like
no. Don't sleep on Shaq. Shazam, Shazam was Shaq. Shazam was Shaq in a turban, but Steel, I felt Steel.
Did you look at Steel and didn't see Shaq? Because when I saw Shaq, I saw Steel, I saw Shaq. Sorry.
I didn't.
And keep in mind, in Steel, there's a scene in Steel where he has to shoot through a hole and they know he can't shoot free throws. That was Shaq, bro. Come on, man.
No,
like,
no. You just assume every big black man can play basketball. That's not right.
That's not fair.
Like, it's a role. It was a role, and he sold it. But actually, to move on to another, in his own way, another superhero. Rest in peace to John Thompson Jr. That man saved lives. I'm not going to bring up the person that he approached in DC, but this person is pretty much responsible for the crack epidemic as we know it in DC. And he stepped to them and was like, "Yo, you leave my boys alone." And he saved he saved Alonzo Mourning's life as far as everybody else is concerned. But he also he was there for AI, Allen Iverson. But he also coached, Patrick Ewing and Dikembe Mutombo. And like this man he was a pillar of the black community. Like there's so many people from from Maryland, from DC, from Virginia that know him and aspired to play for him regardless of if they had any skill or not, because they knew that they would be taken care of, that they would be respected by him.
I think about as a kid seeing like the Georgetown Hoyas jersey and things like that, and I had a basketball hoop like on the back of my thing, and I think it's crazy how many black kids even got to go to the school because they were inspired by him as a coach. Because like a lot of people didn't know until way later, until I was older. I thought Georgetown was the HBCU. It's John Thompson, and he got Iverson, and he got Lonzo, and he had Patrick Ewing. They supposed to hire. I'm like, wait, this is not our school? I was like, what the hell?
The seats, the lies.
But because of him, because like AI put him on for that school, and because Mourning and Ewing, so, and because of his own person, John Thompson's own personal legacy. So I feel like that school has like a lot of black kids went to a school that probably a lot of black kids would have never went to because he was there. I think it's just a outstanding, thing of his legacy.
Absolutely. And we can't forget an incredible player, Portland Blazers, Cliff Robinson as well. He also passed away. Mm-hmm. It's been wild, man. He passed away at 53.
Yeah, he passed from lymphoma. He had been battling cancer for several years, leading up to his death. And you say that he was a phenomenal basketball player, but he was also a phenomenal entrepreneur in his investments in the weed industry in this country. And, salute to him for being able to transition out of the game.
I like how you did that.
No, but also,
you're right.
I'm sorry to our audience if this feels sad, but we gotta pay respect. We're all members of. This is our community. This is our family, and these people have had impacts in our life, and we do want to salute them and celebrate them.
Totally, absolutely.
I'm not necessarily celebrating Herman Cain. I just wish I would let him rest in peace. Stop tweeting from this nigga's Twitter account. Leave that man is dead, okay? Let that man rest.
Like, come on.
He's carried enough water for Trump.
He was already an op, and then now you still tweeting like as an op ghost? Like, enough.
This nigga has some wild ass theory, wild ass policies, bro. He was wild.
Yeah, he's wild. He's wild. And we believe that justice should be served in the name of Daniel Prude from Rochester, and Elie Chie, excuse me. She was a trans woman that was found dead uptown on the beach. And, we don't talk about it enough, but we really need to start protecting all Black women. We really need to start looking out for trans women. They are the one group that is most likely to be victims of violence in this country. And they're not fucking invisible.
No.
And
most of the murders, unfortunately, from what I've heard and what statistics have shown, has been crimes of passion from our own Black men killing them, which is what's even more
disgusting.
Horrific. It's terrible.
It's monstrous, and it's not right. They have a right to live. And Daniel Prude, if you haven't seen the video, don't. I don't want to describe it. I don't want to bring it up. I'm just going to say that you wouldn't treat an animal like that. If we saw a video of an animal treated the way they treated him, we would be called. You know what? Those cops would have lost their fucking job. They have just been relieved of duty. They've just been suspended by the mayor of Rochester. And they tried to throw the fucking blame on the AG of New York, Letitia Wrights. Is it right?
I don't remember. But the whole thing got revealed only because this happened 5 months ago. This happened back in March, but their police report was falsified. They said that he died of complications of the PCP that was in his system, and not the fact that his actual autopsy was he died of asphyxiation, and they ruled it a homicide.
They ruled it a homicide.
Put this to light because the video camera footage showed a different thing. And it's just sad that this was a man who was suffering from mental issues because he had just had a psych evaluation before. And it just shows you the problems that happen when police officers not knowing how to handle those who may be mentally having an episode, and how they don't know how to handle it, and how if they're given a chance to lie, they will lie. I mean, so, and to the police unions, that even though they're suspended because of their contracts, they're still getting paid. So it's definitely it's like a threefold problem of the police and how they deal with the public when it's not a nonviolent thing. The police unions were also keeping these cases on the fringes of, and then also to the mental, facilities of certain states handling these people.
Yeah, it's Letitia James. I was getting confused with Shuri, the woman that plays Shuri. Letitia James, they were trying to pass off the blame to their office because they're supposed to investigate it. I was like, but you could jump and suspend them immediately. I have family. My one of my grandmothers is up there, and my aunt, my father's oldest sister, is up there. So I if you're listening to this and you're praying, folk, then keep Rochester in prayer because they have started protesting immediately. As soon as that video was released.
As they fucking should. That's a fact. Like we said, our thoughts and prayers to everyone who we just mentioned, and to their families, and hope that their families and them have found true peace. Let's get into the L's. Bro, I don't know how, this man just, yo, fam, I feel like every week we have to have a Tory Lanez L update.
No, it's just the thing is that it's crazy that earlier this quarantine we gave him a W because he was really out here.
He did. He was out here. He was out here.
Get up, like he was about to get a bag.
He got the bag.
Like, he was really up. Is it a thing? Are we going to have a discussion about how every time these men start getting bags, start getting big in culture, that they do something abusive to women?
Well, cool.
This is beyond abuse.
Chris Brown, the baby.
You shot a woman. Like, this is beyond abuse. Like, this is a different degree.
Oh, clearly.
Yeah, and
they start getting big, and then there's always a case.
They wild out, you know. They probably doing a whole lot more drugs. They probably
access to handlers. So.
Yeah, or you know what? Let's not assume that this is the first time that they've done this. It's usually the first time that they have gone too far. Or they have gone so far as to like the woman has had enough or has to be hospitalized. You know, unfortunately, if you're like, you know, these folks aren't doing this. It's not like a spur of the moment thing. Unfortunately,
there's several women that came out once Megan. I mean, basically, we're giving Tory Lanez the L because Megan finally came out and said that he actually shot her. And she, you know, wanted to state that, like, I didn't get in a fight with him. I didn't put my hands on him. It wasn't anything. She said it was just me, my friend, and a bodyguard in the car. And I wanted to leave, and he shot me in my foot. And the fact that, like, you know, she kind of waited and admitted it, but, like, he was kind of, like, trying to move past it. His team was trying to say something otherwise and things like that. So,
which is the nastier part of it.
And the fact that people were, like, blaming Megan for getting shot. Like, what, like...
What did she do?
Like, what did she do? What did she say to him? And it's like, how about the niggas just short and unhinged? Like, how about that? And, you know, other women coming forward saying that they had abusive relationships with him and things like that. And it's just like, I hate to see that this is a narrative with rappers, and I always say this to men don't really like women. And I hate that this winds up being true in some way, shape, or form because, like, Megan's a talented girl. She's young. She's only 24. She doesn't have much family. And, like, she's getting a lot of accolades in the industry. And, like, how the men always just seem to fail women in hip-hop, whether it's them abusing them or not making sure their business is straight. It's one or the other. And it's just like, why is hip-hop constantly failing these women who are talented in doing these things, you know? So it's just like a conversation. And the fact that we're still having these conversations, like, 3 decades into hip hop, with all the female rappers we have in the industry, it's sad.
It's depressing. It's upsetting. You know, it's very hard. Like looking at black men and being like, "Yo, son, like you're making it very difficult to defend us." Like every week, my nigga. Like it's really getting difficult. Like the fact that you know the truth will come out. There is no truth. You shot her. Like, there's no truth that we need to discuss. Like,
no, put this nigga in jail. LA County or wherever place Calabasas is, wherever the fuck they are. They're gonna be pursuing this. I guess there is a witness. A gun was fired. There is a. I guess there might be a record of that. Especially if he's still trying to be like, "Oh, truth comes on, fuck out of here," put him in jail and then deport him. This dude is a danger. This dude is unhinged. Like, him and his temper issues are well documented throughout the years. This nigga is 5 foot and wilding out on everybody. And then now he shot somebody. He shot somebody.
Yeah.
Nah, and then you shoot a woman? Nah.
It's a dub.
Number 2. In PSA fashion, Goodman loves to give L's to whole communities of people because he feels like sometimes one is not enough.
No, because these mothers, like, it's nationwide, so I'm not exactly sure who to blame. The parents, the schools themselves, the presidents of these places, the professors who thought they should do this, but clearly everybody who thought that college students would actually be responsible during a pandemic has to get an L. If their fucking parents couldn't get it together, how do you think somebody from 18 to 22 years old is going to handle something like this?
Like the several schools have already like told people that they gotta leave, that they've like, I forgot what school had like 25, 50 cases or like something insane, and I'm just like, these kids been stuck inside with their parents. They probably didn't even get to have the summer or spring break they wanted because they had to go back home early and thug that shit out with their parents. It's like these motherfuckers are horny. They get to be back on their own again. They don't want to hear nothing about no damn mask or social distancing. They're like, I'm trying to get fucked up, do a keg headstand, and make out. I don't want to hear nothing about no goddamn mask. I'm horny.
Play Asher off now.
No, really? These kids do not know who the hell Asher is.
Now, bucko. Like, you know these white kids.
And to show how
what they call it? Wait, good. What they call it, like, what's that song? Yeah, it's on Just Now, Volume 45.
Play Jock Jams 45. I want to hear Jaquan Tipsy. I want to hear Cows, and I want a motorboat woman. Like, these kids are horny.
Do you not see them doing it? The college kids are doing interviews with no mask on. That's what you know they don't get.
First of all, and like to make matters worse is that these schools, it's like, do y'all not know who these fucking kids are? So they think that they're going to use punitive measures. So if you are caught not social distancing, blah, 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 you get suspended or you get put on academic probation, whatever. And now none of these motherfucking kids want to come forward and snitch on themselves that they've been out here wilding out. So now you can't even find contact tracing. How? Like, I thought the incubation period for this disease was like 2 weeks. Yo, UNC didn't last a week, didn't last 5 days before 300 people was like, oh, yeah, damn. Yeah, we're going to have to try again like next month. Nigga, I just got here.
It just shows how all these things are just everything, even education, is just so run by money that they couldn't even think, like, for the sake of safety and health, like, let's just shut school down and not have this thing until it's contained more. And the fact that every couple of months, they keep saying to us, yo, if everybody, and one of you American knuckleheads wore a fucking mask, we would have this shit contained in 2 months. They said this in August. This shit would be done by October if you idiots just wear your mask.
No.
Don't want to do it. Like, fortunately, our cases have went down. In New York, they said that the cases have went down. They're less than 1% for 22 days straight, which is like a record right now. But still,
I mean, like, we can end up like Europe. Europe is now facing their second wave, and now them motherfuckers are wild. Yeah, everybody always loves to think that they're better than everybody else has been going through it. Florida was talking mad, popping mad shit. Now look at them.
They're on fire.
Yes, beaches. Texas was popping mad shit. Now them motherfuckers are averaging like $600 deaths a day or something like something like.
But you want to know why?
Not
you want to know? Let's also put things in perspective, because millennials were wild.
No,
our generation look is so them ticket prices.
No, I disagree.
And I know niggas who flew out.
But then that would reflect an hour issues here. We're talking about places in rural areas, places in suburban areas where niggas ain't going.
I would say millennials, but also to Atlanta. Atlanta is also going to get a spike because it's Labor Day weekend. The gays are dragging their ass down there. I know several people on my timeline that are like, I'm in Atlanta low key, and I'm like, why?
No, you think we're not looking at the Parkway? You think we're not looking at the Parkway? Like you think the Parkway's not going to be lit on Monday, Goodman? Honestly,
yeah, good question.
I don't know. I mean, like on Labor Day, no. We still live in New York, and NYPD still loves putting foot to niggas' asses. Like there is no parade. What? Okay, let's see what happens. I'm gonna stay my ass right at home and see what happens.
Niggas are gonna be wilding out a little because they know normally Brooklyn is like lit.
It's very possible. I mean, but at the same time, like we haven't seen any cases spring up from what happened in up on Astoria. We haven't seen cases from what's happened that was going up on Uptown, in Dykeman in the Heights. So I don't know. Like it is a wait and see kind of situation, but I think that like this ain't limited. Like they, like the news can say it as much as they want. Like old people, 40 and up, don't give a shit either. They don't give a shit either. So sure, that's
Potted now.
We're gonna get more into that later.
We're gonna get more into that later.
Yeah, later. Yeah.
Let's get into. Do we have anybody else has any other L's we need to give out? There is an L, but I don't know if it's my place to talk about it because I'm not from that borough. All I'm gonna say is Harlem needs to figure out Harlem right now. That's all I'm gonna say because it's not my place. I'm not from Harlem. I live in the Bronx. I mind my business.
Now this nigga wants to pull punches. As much shit you love to talk about Brooklyn, now you scared of a neighborhood in Manhattan?
It's a very prominent neighborhood. All I'm saying is there's a lot going on with ASAP, and we need to figure that out.
You know what? We are gonna give them a fucking L.
We're gonna get into that right the motherfucker now. The only reason why ASAP Mob was in the news is because of Ferg. I guess now he's not ASAP Ferg, but
it's not. They said they had an update. Ills is the one who said it. Ills is the one who said Ferg is no part of ASAP anymore because his music is whack. And then Bari said, well, he said what he said under the comments of what he said. And I'm like, well, you honestly have no skin in this either, homeboy. You should just shut up. And then Nas picked it up the next day. He said, Ferg will forever be ASAP. That's it. Now, we have not heard from Rocky. And I just think it's stupid that, like, if your boys, your boys. Clearly, a lot of the members of ASAP have grown up. They have girlfriends. They moved on. A lot of them live in L.A.
Some of them have cases.
Not even cases. I mean, Ferg's been getting bags. I mean, Ferg got $2 million or more. I would say Ferg got $2 million or more from a certain cognac company last year just for a small activation. So he's getting bags for his projects. That's not including Tiffany and other things he's working on.
Nigga put out a bag. He put out a bike. He put out a boot.
So I feel like where it's coming from for Ills and Bari is, well, especially Ills, because I feel like some of the members of ASAP, they didn't get their hustle on. All of them have bags except the other members of ASAP. Bari got his bag with Velo. Rocky gets his bags through fashion and other endorsements he does, or the his collabs with like suffragists for AWGE. They're like media, consulting thing that they do for people. And then Ferg gets it off the music and stuff like that. So I feel like Ills had a promising moment, like in like 2011, 2013, he was modeling, he was doing a lot of shit. But then he kind of fell back into the street shit. So I'm like, you can't be mad at your boy for getting a bag and growing up. Get your bag. You didn't hustle enough. And grown men are not going to be paying for you to live at a certain point. Like, I get we all boys, but it's like, I'm not going to pay for you past a certain age. Like, you got to get your own money.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like 12 is even on that type of time either. Like 12 makes decent music, and he doesn't seem to be. He kind of says to himself.
Nas and 12 write for people, stuff like that. That's how they get their bags. But I'm like, it just sounded like hate. That's to me. I was like, this just sounds like jealousy and hate.
I just saying like, yo, it's crazy that the only reason why y'all in the news right now is because of Ferg, right? like,
and that's not to. I mean, it's not to be misconstrued. Like. You know what I mean? I understood what Bari was saying. Bari was like, look, L's, Yams, they started ASAP. Like, that has nothing to do with me. Like, I'm ASAP affiliated, but those are founding members. And there is a miscommunication that ASAP Mob is a rap group, and it's not. There's rappers in the group, but it's not a rap group. So, but my thing is, I would hate to see it, whatever internal beefs or strifes, come out publicly.
Man, we've been through this. Harlem niggas will always beef with themselves. Like, this is Diplomats Part 2.
Don't do that. I mean, it is.
How many niggas was Dipset battling each other? Cameron was like, I'm fine.
How many times did Cameron or Jim or Juelz say that they ain't fucking Dipset anymore, or some random shit?
I mean,
or just calling each other broke niggas all the time.
I mean, Cam and Jim argued publicly.
Yeah, it may be a New York thing right now. So 50 Cent act like G knew and it never happened, and I'm like, you got to figure it out, boy.
He definitely acts like G knew it never happened. Like he was just never a part of it. It was.
Well, he said it was a social. Lazy, and the thing is that 50, there's been talk of 50 getting a biopic, and 50 doesn't want to include the G Unit part of it, and everybody's like, well, you can't, and he's just like, well, I don't like them, and they're bums, so that part.
Now what?
And everybody's like, you can't. That's still a part of your story.
And he's like, your ass is going to go and see it regardless.
So, like,
stop bothering me.
You love it here. You love it here.
Like, I get that Lloyd and Banks, Lloyd and
Yayo
live up to their hype, but like my thing is like they're still apart. You got a lot of big records, you still make money off of them, so include it.
I mean, you wrote the Game's first album.
I'm sure you can.
And I'm not gonna hold you.
I don't even need a biopic. I got Get Rich or Die Trying the first time. I don't need to see what that nigga been doing since then. That motherfucker been on Instagram this entire goddamn time.
I'm gonna say this I'm gonna continue to keep saying this. The versus battle that I need is 50 versus Cam. I need that versus battle. The battle of the 50 versus Cam. The battle of the petty niggas on the internet.
That's silly.
Those two, very interesting.
That's silly. Let's move on to these wins.
Let's start with it. The first win goes to Nas, which is a first. PSA history. No, correction. We've given Nas 2 W's in 4 years. So, I mean, shout out to Nas. Usually Goodman says after I say shout out to Nas, he says fuck Nas. But he said he's not saying fuck Nas no more. Nas put out a phenomenal album.
He really did.
And that's how I know 2020, the world is ending, because he was rhyming on beat.
I mean, like, I don't even really understand why we really giving Nas that win when it really should go to Hit Boy.
Yo, why does
Because, I mean, like, 20 years, some dubbed beats, and now we're going to give him the dub when Hit Boy was the one was like, oh, you know what? I actually understand and respect your cadence.
Are we revising the W to take away from Nas and give it to Hit Boy? Is that what you're trying to do right now?
I'm just positing a question.
I feel like Nas, that happened with Nas and Nas passed, and everybody be like, yo, we really shit on Nas for like 20 years. Like, no, let's give him the one. He got the W fair and square. It was a great album. That's it. Let's not shade him on the W. Like, come on now.
I'm just saying, like, shout out to Hit Boy.
Hit Boy.
You got it. You understood the flow. You made it work in a way that Kanye West could not.
Premier couldn't either. And Lord Finesse. There's a couple.
I mean, but we're talking historically. I thought when Kanye got on those beats, he might actually do that man some justice.
I like the Kanye album.
Nasir? Don't do that.
I do.
It is definitely one of my favorite Nas albums. But you know, I also have to acknowledge that is not a compliment coming from me. I have to acknowledge that it's not a compliment.
It's not saying much. It's really not saying much.
I like Nasir, despite wherever Kanye is right now. I like Nasir. I like Nas. I hate to see.
I mean, I like Cop Shot the Kid.
Cop Shot the Kid. I like the last song on that album too a lot. The very last song.
That last one, dope.
That one is incredible.
And I feel like this is a conclusion of a story that actually began on PSA back in 2018. When we were like, this nigga did not take an unlicensed gun to the airport and then fled the scene. And we have been here ever since then. And now, as a conclusion, Juelz Santana was released from prison early after serving 17 months of his 27-month sentence.
Look at that. Look at that. And he's loving his girlfriend or wife or wherever Love and Hip Hop says it is.
The mother of his children, for certain.
However Mona writes it, that's how we call it. But he looks happy. I am excited. I feel like Juelz Santana is one of the great failures of New York City music. So I'm really excited to see what he's gonna do.
Juelz was next up, but he started hanging out with Wayne.
There's a conspiracy theory that people believe that Wayne got Juelz hooked on lean, so he would never make it.
No,
I kind of believe that.
I don't.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. All right, that is crazy. Okay,
but
like
if you
they
look at
started hanging out. No, there is no history.
One did lead and flourish, and the other one did lead and decline. History
says that the Carter 2 was flames long before Dipset and Cash Money started hanging out like that.
Okay.
Like, come on. The only person that got Juelz hooked on lean was Juelz.
I mean, the Carter 2 comes out in 2005. What the Game's Been Missing comes out in 2005.
Rolling in 2000.
Then we get the
Carter 2 came out in 2005. I thought it came out in 2004.
2004 to 2005.
Oh, okay, never mind. All right, maybe
December. and then the Carter 3 is the Carter 3. Wayne goes on a tear. We never hear from Juelz.
I still believe in what Josh said. It's the only person who got Juelz hooked on drugs.
I'm happy that he's better. I hope that, like, what is Juelz, like damn near 40? Like
Juelz should be like 40.
Wrap up this decade for yourself and just, find that peace. I think when you're dealing with somebody, when you're talking about, because this wasn't the first time he had gotten caught up with some legal issues.
Like, Juelz is 38.
Find your peace. He's 38. Find your peace, sir. And
look, if Brandy Jeans can still take photos, Juelz can still rap.
I'm not
and they're both the same age. So I'm here for it.
I'm not looking for Juelz album 2020. Let's let this narrative go.
I'll take a solid mixtape.
I'd listen.
I'll listen. Come on, I'm not gonna do that. We listen to Nas, and Nas been rapping off beat for 20 years. So you just throw Juelz? This man, and I quote, said, "I'm a baller. You're not a baller. I got your BM in my BM. Caller. That's forever flawless. I'm not gonna throw that man away."
Let's stop slandering Nas like this. I really don't like this narrative. I get that he makes albums that are like whatever, but I'm not gonna slander Nas, who does come out with projects, and we have had Nas albums that we liked in the time since, and Juelz really has not lived up to the hype at all. So I'm not gonna.
He gave you the whistle song.
That's it.
What the game's been missing is a classic album. I don't care what anybody got to say about
Actually, that. I just went and reviewed it. There are some duds on that shit.
There are some duds, but it's also what?
There's some high points.
It's a 22 albums. Yeah, like, come on, dog.
It's some shit on there that's trash.
How many albums over 14 songs are you like, oh yeah, front to back?
Purple Haze.
No way.
There's not a bad song on Purple Haze.
All right, let me go.
Like I said, we can move on. I stick to my statement. Period.
But shout out to Juelz being home. Number 3, another Harlem legend in her own right, Teyana Taylor. She just put out the video for Still, and it's incredible.
I don't like it.
Okay. Tell me why.
I don't like her video the same way I didn't like when the baby performed in the BET Awards. I don't think that anybody should be dressing up as George Floyd or Breonna Taylor or anybody like that. I think that until they have justice, like, don't use anything with their name. If you want to use political characters like, okay, Malcolm X or, Newton and things like that, that's fine. But, like, these are regular citizens that you wouldn't even be caring about if it wasn't you know, they didn't die in the unfortunate ways that they died, and they haven't found justice yet. So don't caricaturize them in your video. Like, you don't need to.
That's fair. I did feel like the video was a moment, though.
The baby did in his BET performance when he had the cops kneeling on his neck just like they kneeled on drugs. I didn't like that either. So my thing is, like, don't do that. Like, the images of their death are already traumatizing enough, and we still have to live with those images. Don't now immortalize their image of their death in a video. Immortalize their life in a video, but don't immortalize them in death.
I agree.
Hey.
So I
That's a fair stance.
I feel like anybody who's doing it right now, like, people are doing it to be provocative, and I get you want to make the visual of, like, yes, I'm just like them, but don't have their lasting image be of their last act of death and injustice. Like, do something different.
Fair enough. I guess.
Go ahead, are we getting to new music?
Yeah.
Okay. As I get into new music, I do have to apologize to Purple Haze. Damn. It's a quality album.
Purple Haze is flawless, bro.
It's not flawless, but it's a quality album.
It's a quality album.
That's all I got to say about that.
I agree with you.
I've reviewed it. I think it far exceeds. It's aged very well. It's aged very well.
You skew Uptown, so you're biased. Like, be honest. Full disclosure. Full disclosure.
I reviewed the album. When did we review Purple Haze? Maybe like January. I think it's aged pretty well. I think it's definitely encapsulates a moment in time for the Diplomats, and it was at an all-time high for Cam. They threw the bag at Cam for that album.
Okay, I'm done with you. Like, we can move.
I think it'd be classic, Rob, but it doesn't have to be flawless.
Okay.
So,
so Nas King's Disease. What do we think of it?
So I want to say I do like there's a little bit of a blueprint theme here where he is actually working with younger artists, and I think that it kind of like injects a little bit of life into his work. Maybe it's not a surprise that my favorite. Oh no, well I did love the Firm. Like, you can't deny Full Circle, but I also loved Ultra Black. I love Replace Me with Big Sean and Don Toliver. I loved All Bad with Anderson .Paak. And I love Spicy with 5E and Ferg. Like, I mean, it's a great album. It's a strong album, but it's great to see people from our generation, trying to spar with Nas. In some cases, just creating a great song. Creating a great song.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I heard he was working with Hit Boy, I was kind of surprised it would have this many features, but the features fit. I love Car 85. I love Car 85. I think if there's one thing we can all agree is Nas is very intricate in detail and can really paint a picture and make you feel like you're there. And Car 85 does that. Ultra Black, I wasn't in love with it when I first heard it because it just felt like it was so one-off, but it fits in the album very well. All Bad, I really thought was really good. I mean, he's talking about Nicki, but it's good. Like, he's definitely talking about Nicki. But, I mean, when you're an old man and you're dating young women, what do you expect?
True.
Let's talk about it. Like, you know what I mean? You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So you get what the hand calls for. Full Circle, yes, Goodman, incredible to hit a Firm. AZ, Comega rapping their ass off. I was like, wow, this is really good. Foxy as well. Spicy, I didn't know Fabi knew any other rap cadences, but I was
No, don't say going Fabi. Fabi actually, have you actually heard any of his like backpacker shit?
Fabi has a backpacker shit.
Fabi is 30 plus years old. He's been in the game for 10 years.
You know, Fabi raps in like PowerPoint presentations, right?
Favi thought he was Khalifa for a little bit. Like I was like, oh okay. Like
Fabi literally raps in bullet points, like literally. Like it's not.
Yo, fall the fuck back. Just fall the fuck back.
Here. Okay.
Jade, how
picture, movie, moving.
You're mad.
Me.
You can't do it. You try it.
Like it. I think very few people. A lot of the older rappers. A lot of the times, the thing of the older rappers going with the younger people, it really doesn't work. So I'm glad that it worked and it sounded good. It didn't sound forced, and I liked it overall. I'm glad that people received it well because I feel like Nas albums never get received as well.
Yo, low key, high key. You know what it was, Jay? Everyone's home.
No,
so they had to actually sit and listen.
I can find a whole lot of things to do than listen to a Nas album.
At home?
Yeah, I have a lot of fun here. I'm doing a lot of things. I paint, I record shit, I read, I do absolutely nothing. Yeah, I have a lot of things that I can do.
So you genuinely listened to this Nas album, is what you're saying? Like it wasn't like, okay, fine. I liked it. It seems like all of us liked it. I want to see how it's gonna age, because having younger artists on albums is tricky, because that also is dependent on how they age as well. So I want to see how that hearing Brucey B was fire. I felt like I wanted a BMW with BBSs and like just riding down the block with the windows down, no mask. Like I really wanted.
Digital wants to live like uptown Rich Porter. Like he wants to have this paid in full fantasy that no longer exists.
I mean, because we gotta wear masks, so there's that.
And also, white people run Harlem.
Exactly.
That's because Brooklyn got born for them. Anyway,
thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, I want them all to be bored and move to town. Thank you.
They are plotting on the Bronx, though. They are plotting on the Bronx. They're building a Shake Shack over here. I was like, these.
So bro soon come.
Don't do that.
Yeah, they put a Shake Shack there. Ooh wee. They starting because when they put that Whole Foods up there, it's over for y'all.
We haven't got a Whole Foods yet. They refuse to give us a Whole Foods.
Whole Foods, it's over. No more local. No more C-Town and Key Food. It's
Associates.
Over. Especially Associates. It's over for you when they put a Whole Foods up there. Over.
Come on, man. Associates was like, what do you call these paper bags? We still got plastic bags. What are you talking about?
Exactly. You don't know about the wall. Still got
Associated store was necessary. Associated store fed hoods all over this fucking city.
Also killed niggas too. But I mean, it would be nice to not go. I have to go all the way down to 59th Street to get my organic peanut butter. It would be nice.
Or Harlem, because they shot up the one in the Whole Foods the other day. So there's that.
I mean, yo, Amine, libido. How we like?
Limbo.
Limbo. I thought it was libido. My fault.
My God, you really need.
I mean, the nigga's name is Amine. It's not anime, so it's Amine. Anyway,
it's Amine, but it's not. It's also not spelled anime.
Anyway, phonetically it looks like that.
Honestly, I mean, it's a great album. I can listen to this shit from front to back. I think the song that I get along with the least is his single "Compensating" with Thugger. I don't know. There's just something about that song that rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know. But I love it. It's a great album. Amine is really talented. I really like him.
I feel sorry for Amine because he did not read the room in the middle of the revolution. He put out that song Becky. And I don't know anybody who really listened to the album past Becky. Because they were like, oh, you were captain of the milk yacht during the revolution? Like, I literally felt like people wait for his album. And then, like, people heard that song Becky. And they're like, oh, this time Tommy. And I'm like, well, he is from Portland.
Yeah, like I also recognize like you can't knock the way the man is raised. Like white people in Oakland are different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. 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 Like breed. you know,
Yeah.
they came up under the Black Panthers too. So I've always, and I've seen them live. You know, I know how he carries himself. I know how he insists on, yo, I don't expect none of you white people in my show to be saying nigga with me. And I respect that, you know.
Put out this time, like it was bad timing for that song. I think
it sounds like Smoke DZA to me. The whole album, his voice sounds like Smoke DZA, but it's a good album.
Oh, he's not from. I'm sorry, he's not from. He's not from Oakland. He's from Portland.
Yeah, he's from Portland. I just think the song set a bad tone. I think that right now, the way music is right now, people want to hear something that's like moving them and really is speaking to our blackness. And a song named Becky and being like, well, why can't I fuck white women? It's just not the song nobody wants to hear right now. It's just bad fucking timing. So, yeah, it just set bad tone. Like, I know the songs were cool, but like I said, it's just, I think a lot of people disregarded his album just because that.
Oh, well.
I feel like they're going to revisit it, but right now, it just was bad timing for that song. I just feel like, sir, you had a chance to take this out. You could have left this off.
That's fair. I mean, like, I gauge everything by, like, is it Dan Caesar level? Is he daring me to cancel him? Or is he just being, you know, this is an artist and this.
Yo, we really canceled Daniel Caesar, and that second album is kind of good.
That album was good, but he dared.
I have never listened to that album.
That album is really good.
Never listened to that album.
And I like Sabrina Carlio.
Look, I want to go ahead and just say that I don't know if you're speaking. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say I do enjoy that Sir song that she had that she's featured on. That's pretty much it for her.
True. I mean, I like the song with Black, but yeah.
Oh yeah, she deserves a song, man.
Yeah, I like it. I guess Sango.
Sango Zingo. It's good. It's like it's a Sango. Like you're gonna hear some really dope Brazilian beats. It's gonna get you turned the fuck up. It's a great way to kind of like release some pent up energy or frustration or whatever. It's a great album.
Good.
I didn't get to listen.
I'm sure it's good.
I'll probably by the next episode listen to Jaden's full album because I really do like Jaden. So
I like Jaden. Yeah.
I haven't got a chance to listen to that yet. That's the only thing I'm really checking for recently.
What else? I mean, No Ceilings is on streaming platforms. Everybody seems to be really excited about that.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like everybody slowly went and listened to it a little bit. I listened to JP Morgan's gospel album. I like that.
I am waiting for the drafts to come out, which are infinitely times better than the
No Ceilings. That's fair. You got that. Let's get into it. It's not out. It comes out. By the time this releases, it will be out. Big Sean.
I'm excited.
Let's talk about it. What do we think?
I like those first couple of singles. So I'm excited. I already liked the one with Nipsey. I was waiting on that since the Hit Boy and VERZUZ. I was waiting on that single. So I already like the second song that he has with Sada Baby. So I'm just like, I'm excited. I do like Big Sean. I get that he's not the hope that we all wanted him to be, but how can you be the hope when everybody jacked your flow? Everybody wanted him the next Detroit.
No, I'd have no hope in this. I am a fan of Big Sean. I am not a fan of Big Sean's studio albums. And time again, this man has disappointed me when it comes to those official releases. If you give me a motherfucking mixtape, I'm all over a Big Sean mixtape. But I am cautious. I'm cautious because like he has a lot of dope songs on his actual studio albums and then you listen to the album and it's like, oh shit.
I like them. So, this last thing he came out with. So.
I mean, I constantly say that people, every time we say that Big Sean really doesn't perform well with studio projects, niggas come out, yo, what about Dark Scott's Paradise? I'm like, look. That album was decent.
It was
compared to Big Sean albums. Compared to his compatriots and what people put out that year, it wasn't really it.
And it was probably, I think this is the one that followed Detroit.
Yes.
So like everybody was on a high after Detroit. Like I think if he messes up this album, I'm gonna be really mad at him. Like I'm gonna be like, I don't fuck with Big Sean no more.
We'll have to delay our review fully. I'm just saying what he's put out so far for the album.
I am worried about it because quite frankly, the best part of the song with Nipsey is Nipsey. Like, if I was still using iTunes, I would cut that song off right after the hook from Nipsey's verse and keep it moving. And that's already a bad sign. If you're telling me that, I mean, like, you should have put Nipsey on the last verse if you're gonna put it.
Because, all right, let's keep it a beat here. Dark Sky Paradise comes out in 2015. I'm going to read you what other albums came out in 2015, and then you tell me if I'm crazy. Are y'all ready? I'm going to start simple. Future's Dirty Sprite 2. That came out in 2015. To Pimp a Butterfly came out in 2015.
Yeah.
If you're reading this, It's Too Late came out in 2015. Long Live ASAP came out in 2015. What else do we have in 2015? Rodeo came out in 2015.
So what you're saying is that it's not a top 5. It's not even a top 5 album in 2015.
It's really not. It's really, really fucking not. And I've been saying that shit for a while. And if you want to keep it all the way 100, I don't even like this nigga like that. But Logic's Incredibly True Story is better than fucking Big Sean's album.
Nah, you can keep that shit too.
That's a lie.
Only reason why I like it a lot is because he has a Tsunami nigga on it and they're in space. And the shit was fire.
I'm done with that nigga too. Like, yo, again, you're talking about dudes that are better on their mixtape. And I am so wrong because Detroit was 2012. That one was for the for Hall of Fame, and Hall of Fame was trash.
And I'm even gonna give it up to the fact that the album About Nothing is in 2015 too.
Oh yeah. Nobody moved. Okay, so what you're saying is that it's still top 10.
I think niggas get paid to not like Wale, but that's
no. I have no problem. I like the Wale, but
Wale doesn't like me. That's a thing.
I like Wale.
I understand he doesn't like me.
I ain't like that album. I like Wale, but I did not like that album.
I liked the album About Nothing. They threw him the bag for the album, but I think at that time is just there are great songs on it. I don't think the singles really hit the way they were supposed to. Honestly, and back then the problem with a lot of blog era rappers is they don't pick good singles. And they don't A&R their albums very well. And that's why their mixtapes are so much better because they have free reign. But when they make albums, they're constrained. There's constraints. And they don't really do well. But whatever. Neither here nor there. But I can tell you, let's just for a quick recap. For features, we have Nipsey on this album. Post Malone is on this album. Ty Dolla $ign is on this album. Dave Chappelle, Dwele, Anderson .Paak, Wale, Young Thug, Hit Boy, Lil Wayne, everybody from Detroit, because there's a lot of niggas on here that I don't know. But everybody from Detroit is on this.
That's all that matters. That nigga's a GOAT.
T Grizzly, Cash Doll, Cash Kid, Payroll, 42 Doug, Bodie James. I didn't know Bodie James was from Detroit. Soda Boy, Verse 5'9", Eminem. I don't want an Eminem verse in 2020, but whatever.
I haven't wanted an Eminem verse in the last decade.
Oh, bro. Like, enough.
Decade. 15
Stevie Wonder's
years.
Stevie Wonder's on this album.
Yeah.
I did. We saw the picture of them working together in the studio.
And Dom Kennedy closes out the album with it.
Hey, I'm always curious to hear Dom Kennedy verse.
Yeah, you listened to that Dom Kennedy Hot Hit Boy album that came out this year?
I did.
Did you like it?
It was okay.
But did you like it?
Said it was okay.
I'm asking for one of two words here.
Yeah, Jay, yes? I said what I said. I said what I said.
Well, the only actually album I've really been fucking with that has come out recently since the last episode is Victoria Monet's Jaguar.
Oh my God!
I want to take the moment to gas myself up because I've been talking about Victoria Monet for a while.
It definitely took Joe Budden playing her music multiple times on the show for me to be like, no, let me give it a shot.
Victoria Monet for a while.
I've been listening to it for a while.
So
very
I put you onto it digital, so don't even fucking. All right.
Hey man, look, I've been.
Let's be clear. I talked about it on episode. Digital was like, oh what? I never heard from. I'm gonna listen to it. So let's be fucking clear.
I mean, yes, I know it comes from your lesbian lustly playlist. Like we know this. Come on.
Exactly. That's why I don't give out no more suggestions. But that album slaps, and it's gonna be a part 2 coming. So check out for Victoria Monet. But Jaguar slaps. Shannon did the video. Shout out to Shannon for Jaguar doing a video. But I had already,
What's the favorite song on the album?
I like Touch Me because Touch Me is the second part to Kalani's record on her album. So, yes. So yeah, I like that album. But I had already, I like the album. I had it.
I like Go There With You a lot.
I like Jaguar. I just like the horns. I just like the disco feel of it. Experience I liked. Experience wasn't. Yeah, but I had heard a bit of Jaguar when Shannon did the video, so I did know what was kind of coming. I just didn't hear the final mix or whatever of it. But Victoria Monet's great. I think she's a huge star. I think she's going to be a huge star. She has written for a lot of people, so I'm curious to see what more she does. Oh, actually, no, that's it. That's it. I was going to suggest another thing, but no, because Digital will cap 3 episodes later, so I'll put it on my Twitter or something. But that's really what I've been listening to right now. That's coming out.
Well, hold on to it. Write it down at least. Write it down now so that way you have it so we can talk about it.
That's what it is. I'll let y'all all listen to it.
She gonna forget. So let's get into media because this is
also Disclosure came out with an album, Energy, and that shit.
Okay.
Or if something of the other categories that we probably don't talk about on this show, Dua Lipa's remix album is hard.
Okay.
And I'll say this why. Dua Lipa's house album is hard, and I think is a real innovative album that a lot of people are gonna jack. One, she has a lot of old house standards on it. She has Masters at Work working on it. And if you know Masters at Work, which is Little Louis Vega and Kenny Dope, they worked on the album. She has a lot of remixes. She remixed The Percolator on this album. And if you don't want to even listen to the whole thing, you can go on YouTube because they mixed the whole album and they made a hour video that you could watch that has blended all the records exactly how it's on the album. It's a great visual album that she did, and she created cartoons and stuff. She had all these cartoons create different things for it. So actually, her album is probably the most fire house album out. Better than Disclosures. Like I said, who remixes The Percolator in 2020, and that shit slaps. So it's worth a listen.
I'm ready to get into media because this is very interesting.
We got a lot to discuss here.
We do. Let's just get into it. VERZUZ.
Yeah, this is probably going to be a 3-hour episode. I hope y'all are enjoying this, audience.
Pretty much.
Audience. VERZUZ. Let's talk about it. Brandy versus.
Has no taste, and he's officially an op now.
I also have no taste. I am a big fan of Monica. Like I completely understand that Brandy definitely won. She won. But I thought that Monica was throwing haymakers those first 6 rounds. Haymakers. And you know what? I had her up because I enjoy all that music. Just because, Brandy is a better singer, that doesn't mean I like her songs more. Like, that doesn't mean that Monica's songs didn't have a deeper impact on me or whatever I was going through.
Mine has great work, but who do you think won the overall thing?
One of the overall things certainly is Brandy. I think that like Monica ultimately in those like 6 haymakers probably had just one more uppercut in the tuck. Like, so I can see it being like, I can see it definitely being tied in some ways, like maybe about like 3 or 4 of those rounds. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm not going to choose, especially in. But I thought that she was going. I thought Monica came out when she played "So Gone" 3rd round. I was like, oh, she's just going to go heavy.
I got Monica winning 13-7.
Okay, I can't go that far. I can't go that far. I don't understand. This is now officially beef with Brandy. Is it because she killed somebody? Like, what is this? What is this?
So just overall, I think. Well,
it was an accident, Rob.
Jade said she thinks I'm just sample biased, and because I love heavy samples, that's why I like it. But I have the list, so we can do it now and then see where we're at. So
go round for round.
What about us?
Rob is sample biased, and we just have to admit that. You are biased to anything. One, he's biased for 2 reasons. He's biased because Missy produced some of her records, and Rob is sample biased because it has, it's a Blue Magic sample. It's a Stylistics. That's why Rob is partial to Monica.
I mean, but like Monica's hip-hop, so yeah, if she samples a lot, then hey, that's great. She's still got a great voice to me, and I enjoy her fucking music.
Monica's music.
So, let's go.
Brand, let's start it. What about us? Everything to me.
I gave it to Everything to Me.
As did I. He is a dozen. Yeah, Jade.
I told you what I said. What about us?
Okay.
He is a dozen roses.
I gave it to a dozen roses.
I gave it a dozen roses.
Full Moon, So Gone.
Full Moon.
I gave it to So Gone.
I love that fucking song, man.
So Gone, but I still gave it a Full Moon.
Then we have I Want to Be Down versus Don't Take It Personal. I gave it to Don't Take It Personal.
I gave it to Don't Take It Personally. You gave it to what? You gave it to what? I Want to Be Down?
Down was a huge song. Because also, too, this is the reason why. Because she also played the remix.
I mean...
She played the original and the remix. And you're not going to... out of the 90s records, the R&B, that was a huge record to have all those women on that record in the 90s. So I'm still giving
Monica could have played the Don't Take It Personal remix if she wanted to. She could have.
Doodle compared to I Want to Be Down remix.
I'm still riding with Don't Take It Personally. Don't take it personally. Nobody got to take that personally. That's my choice.
Baby versus Like This and Like That, I gave it to Brandy.
Baby.
Angel in Disguise versus Shoulda Known Better.
I gave it to Monica.
Angel in Disguise.
Angel in Disguise is, yeah.
I like You Should Have Known Better. I like Monica. Like,
yeah.
What's the beef? What the fuck? I'm not saying that Angel in Disguise is not a great song.
Missing You, For You I Will. Get the fuck, you can get Missing You the fuck up out of here.
That was my first tie.
Relax.
When she said, hey, I got this on Space Jam, I was like, yeah, Bob Brandy. Bob Brandy.
That was my first tie, but I'm fucking with For You I Will.
I get For You I Will. We're not going to stand there Missing You. Relax.
I'm just saying. Like, I get you got, Shaka Khan and Gladys now, woo! But you ain't beating this.
You're talking
Sorry.
a lot of
For You I Will.
A lot of trash.
Almost Doesn't Count versus Why I Love You So Much. I gave it to Almost Doesn't Count.
Almost Doesn't Count.
Broken Hearted versus Love All Over Me. I gave to Broken Hearted.
I gave it to
I
gave it to Broken Hearted.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Why? It's YA, man. I can't shit on YA. That's a cheat code. Then that's when the intermission came.
And then they started with this. We're gonna throw this one away. We gotta throw this round away. This was a weird one.
Anything because Anything for You featuring Rick Ross. Versus Top of the World with Mace. So I gave it to Top of the World. Yeah.
Then we gotta give it to Top of the World.
Yeah. Still Standing versus Borderline.
Shit, I love Still Standing, man.
I love Still Standing because Borderline is a brand new song. So the fact that she put a brand new song in her playlist was really wonky. Like, you shouldn't have done that. You know better.
Wait, didn't she play? No, but didn't Monica play one of her brand new songs?
She played her brand new
song.
Nah.
Did she play it after the battle? I thought she did.
Played in the intermission.
Oh, she played intermission.
She played the Lil Baby song in the intermission. That's why I have it here.
Okay.
So then Commitment versus Love Again. I was like, damn you, Daniel Caesar. I love Love Again. So I was like, damn it, I love that song. Slow Jams versus Put It Down. Slow Jams won. I'm like, First Night versus Who Is She to You? First Night.
Who Is She to You?
All right.
That was a tie for me.
This is where it gets shady. Knock Knock versus Best Friend. And I gave it to Knock Knock.
I'm giving it to Knock Knock. Yo, you got Missy Elliott ad-libs on it.
And you got Ye's first placement. That's Ye's first placement on the album.
Once
again, the song is incredible.
There's a lot of history behind that album. Not beyond
Before You Walk Out of My Life versus Sitting Up in My Room. Yeah, I gave it to Before You Walk Out of My Life. I never really liked it.
That's Brandy right there.
Drugs.
Talk About Our Love versus Sideline Hold.
No, that's going by. No, that wasn't. Every Time the Beat Drop versus Talk About Love.
Talk About Our Love, boy.
And that was Talk About Our Love. Kanye West.
Yeah. I gave it to Brandy and Andy. I mean, Ye and Brandy. Yeah. Then you have
Put That On Everything.
Then you have Put It On Everything versus Trust. I gave it to Trust with Monica.
Yo, what are you doing, dog? It was Sideline Hope versus Put That On Everything.
I put that on everything.
It was Sitting Up in My because Sitting Up in My Room
Put that on everything
is. Oh, you know what? Title may not have Every Time the Beat Drop. That's what it is. So my list may, because you have Every Time the Beat Drop somewhere there.
Versus Talk About Love. Talk About Our Love.
Yeah. I have on mine. I don't have that. I have Sideline Home coming in next. All right, so that makes sense. Then go ahead, Josh. Pick it. I mean, go ahead. So I'll pick it up.
It was Sideline Home versus Put That On Everything.
I put Sideline Home.
Yeah,
I like Sideline Home a lot.
Then there's Brandy's When You Touch Me versus Keisha Cole's Trust featuring Monica. That was Brandy. That was Brandy.
I gave that to Monica because I really do like that song a lot.
And then there's Monica featuring Lil Wayne, Just Right For Me versus Brandy's Have You Ever.
Brandy.
Yeah. And then I don't think whatchamacallit, The Boy's Mind was actually around.
I don't think it was either.
But it was like, you can't, like, she wrote the fucking thing. She was like, you want to be on it?
So now me and Jade has had this argument, and I don't think I'm wrong in this. Mr. Goodman, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I don't think The Boy's Mind sells as well without Monica on it.
So?
That I don't think the song is.
I don't think the song would exist if Brandy didn't write it.
Okay.
I don't think the song would exist as it is if Brandy was just like, "Hey, you want to get on this track with
me?" And after doing a little bit of research, there's a reason. I don't like how.
No, you did. I told you this. Like.
Nah, I don't like people were coming at Monica for not singing The Boy Is Mine, but she doesn't have rights to it. She doesn't have credit to it at all. And come to find out, it wasn't to the conversation that me and Jade was having about The Boy Is Mine and the album. And the song came out first, and then Monica's album came out second. But the label was the one who pushed her to name the album The Boy Is Mine.
No. It's a great song. Well, Rob said.
No, I'm saying Monica's label wanted her to name the album The Boy Is Mine. But
Boy Is Mine. No, I mean, separating all of that, I think the very fact is that this is Brandy's song.
No. Rob is glazing over the main point that started this whole conversation. He said he thinks the song "Boy's Mind" is trash.
I do.
And add on to it, it wouldn't be great if it wasn't for the Monica part. And
I do think that.
No, that's not.
I think that is a terrible take, but you have a right to your opinion.
Thank you. It's a terrible take. And I said it's a great song because if it wasn't a great song,
it's a great song because it's a great song.
Nigga hit me with the Cain and
Like
Kel.
everything about that was a moment.
And that's
Everything about that was a moment.
Thank you. And that's exactly what I said. And I said the reason her label even pushed her to name her album "The Boy Is Mine" is because the song was that fucking great.
Rob, can you find another human being that agrees with you?
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of people.
Are they black?
No.
Yes.
What is? I know. Give me a person. Give me a Twitter. Put them on blast right now.
I take a music fan.
Brandy did this.
Brandy. Okay. Okay. No, I'm not gonna knock him. He's gonna be able to defend himself whenever he returns back to the show. But another one. Thank you, please.
All right. I have a couple people.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
Phantom people.
To the point, I think it was just very. I didn't like how people. What I liked about it is when it comes to Brandy for me, I've always felt like Brandy just didn't exude enough confidence for me, to be honest. Even let me finish. I know. I'm gonna let you. Even in the midst of watching the VERZUZ battle, you can see that she's very hard on herself. She's not confident in her music. So
she's just awkward.
Yeah, she's just weird. She's
a little bit of an asshole because she's like, yeah, I'm not really concerned about. I'm not really comfortable with how I'm feeling about my music, but I know it's better than yours.
Yeah, and also too, that's not something that based the thing on. The song, not about how.
I've always, I think that in that battle, and my man Reg said this. He was like, with the VERZUZ battle, it's better that you judge the songs after we get the whole list, opposed to judging the songs in the moment. Because if you judge the songs in the moment, the energy that person puts into that song comes off very differently. And I think that Monica sold her songs better live than Brandy did to me. Like, Monica gave me life watching that VERZUZ. The same way we looked at Snoop versus the Snoop and DMX joint. Like, it's the same. They have a certain bravado that when they perform their music, Brandy doesn't give me.
They battle on somebody's how they acted and not on the actual songs, and that's not the point of the battle.
Look, dog,
but they're playing. It's there. It's the same thing as a fight. You could be a great fighter, but if you're in the ring with somebody, it's showmanship.
I think that's ridiculous.
Like a weirdo in his battle. He was literally golfing half of his battle, and we still gave him the win, so it doesn't count. It just doesn't.
But VERZUZ has evolved since then.
And we still gave it to him. So you just don't like Brandy. Just say that. But
just say it. Like, sometimes I don't really care for the airy shit.
And it's crazy too because I did some research with some friends and we looked at the numbers. Monica only sold 10 million copies less than Brandy throughout the 90s.
Nobody
sold copies in the 90s is a lot of fucking albums.
Oh no, I'm not saying. Wait, now take to what I'm saying. I sold 10 million records less without the promotion that you had.
But no.
Without the promotion that you had. All I had was music. I didn't have a TV show. I didn't have a Disney movie. I didn't have a Barbie doll. I didn't have any of that. I just had music.
Here's the thing. See, Rob takes this, and he's had this discussion. He has this narrative, or he had this belief until this battle that Brandy somehow had this in and got this whole different push that Monica didn't, and Monica just wasn't that type of girl. Monica wasn't the girl who wanted a Barbie girl. Monica wasn't the girl who wanted a fucking show. She was the girl who dated C. Murder and had fucking tats. So you just don't like Brandy. But Brandy served the purpose for a lot of black girls that wasn't seen. And when people who came behind Brandy, like Britney Spears and fucking Christina Aguilera, was like, I based my career off of Brandy's. It just was two different things. Monica was never going to be that TV girl, that girl that did songs with Babyface, and that girl that was on TV smiling and had Revlon commercials. She was never meant that. You just didn't like her, and that's fine. But it represents a demographic that was important at the time. And that's just that. But Monica was never going to be, she was dating C Murder at the time and had tats. She was never going to be the way the artist wanted to be marketed. But nobody ever said Monica wasn't great. Now, who had the bigger star cachet at the time was fucking Brandy. Brandy was fucking everywhere. But that's also a credit to her mother and her father managing her.
Yeah.
They're not saying that
Monica did not have Sonya.
Until after she came out with her album. She'd do a song Babyface after she came out with her album. She didn't even start doing some of the bigger songs with Rodney Jerkins after she got it, and the features she got until after she came out with the first album. She got it because the songs were good and they touched something in people, because a lot of artists up until that time were not even our teenage age. When Brandy came out, we listened to records by Mary J. Blige, who was a grown-ass woman. Adina Howard was a grown-ass fucking woman. A lot of other grown-ass women. It was the first time we had, and Brandy came out first. That's why a lot of people should have nostalgia about it. That's a lot of our memories of our teenager. So it's not that Monica was somehow gypped. Brandy worked fucking hard, and her parents worked fucking hard. But she got what she got because she got what she got. Don't make it seem like Monica got gypped. Monica was never going to be that girl. She says that all the time. I was never the girl that Brandy was going to be, and was.
Do you think Aaliyah was close to that as well? Either?
I don't think Aaliyah was going for that.
They're different artists, dog.
Artists.
I mean, yes, still, but they were all still very much.
No, they were all like that's an issue right here. Like
Aaliyah was older. Brandy said a lot of her records she wrote with 12. Aaliyah was way older by the time she got into like become a big star. When she made her first records, yes, she was young. But by the time she got to 1 in a Million, she was grown. Brandy started out young, period. Like, she was young when she made a lot of her really big records. She was 14. Even Monica, a lot of those early records, she was 14, 12, 15.
No, I mean, but now wait, Aaliyah and Brandy are the same age.
But they didn't come out at the same time. Exactly. I'm talking about Brandy's first album. Aaliyah's first album was not critically received as much as Brandy's first album. And that's what I'm judging it on. Aaliyah's second album was critically judged higher because she had left R. Kelly, and also, too, she had a new sound by the time she came out 1 in a Million, because that's when Timbaland and Missy started putting together their sound. But Aaliyah was just considered older. She dressed older. She looked older. Brandy was giving teenager. I'm a teen. I'm a tween.
I mean, we're not.
So
Aaliyah
my thing is, like, I'm not judging Aaliyah to say Aaliyah never wanted to make the music that Brandy made either. She didn't want to be a teen pop star. Aaliyah was like, I'm a teen, but that was my first album.
She was also around that fucking Predator.
I mean, she was around R. Kelly, but Aaliyah was never going for that market. Aaliyah wanted to be sleeker, darker, and her sound wasn't made for the masses. Her sound was just her sound. It wasn't supposed to be for the masses. Aaliyah worked with producers that were for the masses. That's just it.
Lovecraft.
I mean, you
a hating ass nigga.
So I think it.
Yo, there's nobody was gonna be right in this debate. Like, I don't know why. But moving on, yes, Lovecraft Country is absolutely incredible.
It scares the shit out of me, and I love it.
All the weird reasons. Like, I'd be stressed out for the first 35, 40 minutes of that show. And then when the monsters actually show up, I'm like, oh, God, thank you. Something that I can deal with and handle.
I think I like the show because I feel like a lot of times we've had points in our culture when Black creatives or Black people were cast in a movie or a role that had to do with things of the other natural, not just fantasy, not like sci-fi, of the other natural. Like when Wesley Snipes did Blade, Spawn, things like that. Those movies were not received by Black people that much because it's just demonic, it's too much spiritism, they into some dark weird.
Pray it away.
So I love that Black people are embracing this story that's talking about the South and other things and talking about these supernatural things happening and not just throwing it away as demonic or things like that. They're actually embracing that Black people can have shows that are about fantasy that are not based in the future. They're about monsters, they're about spirits, and we're embracing it and not just writing it off as demonic or, anti-Christian. So that part I do like.
Yeah, it's not Tales from the Hood. Like, it's just like we have a genre for that, and I love I love the range of the actors, the emotion, the historical points. To your point, Goodman, yeah, it's very emotional until you actually see like scary shit. Like the shit that makes you scared isn't the scary shit.
When you're trying to manage like all the fucking like the abject racism, the wanton use of violence when it comes to racism back then, like this is our relationship with the police. Like this, it's like this. It's like you just don't know, and it's to this day you just don't know. So like, you know, that shit is the stuff that like what they're going through in that show is what my grandparents went through. Like they're basically my grandparents' age. Like nigga, Atticus and Letty would be my grandparents' age at this time. But like that stress and that anxiety is still when that white man said this is a sundown state, you got 5 minutes to get the fuck up out of here. I was like, wait, what? And it's like, yo, and that's how it is. Like they did everything right. They got out of the county and by sundown, staying under the speed limit. And them motherfucking pigs were still waiting for him. And I don't know how to feel about this. We're only 3 episodes deep as of recording this episode. But I've also noticed that all these white people that are trying to inflict violence or have inflicted violence on our characters don't get their vengeance, don't get their justice at the hands of the characters that they victimized. In these first 3 episodes, they've always been killed by the monsters or the ghosts, and it's just like fuck, you know.
I see what you mean.
Why can't Atticus get some? Why can't T get some get back? You know,
like in Tales from the Hood when all the dogs beat the shit out the white man.
I mean, didn't it kind of happen didn't it kind of happen, especially in the? Hopefully everybody has seen the latest episode. That when the spirit got them in the house because they broke into the house.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like they broke into the house, but it's not like Letty blew their fucking brains out. It was like Letty and them don't even actually know. Like, you know, she was asked about it, but those motherfuckers were killed by the ghost, were probably dragged and put into that cellar underneath the cellar. I don't even know if them motherfuckers even know that the elevator goes down that far.
Yeah, I don't know that those other guys even came into the house. I mean, they probably know, but they don't know where they are, what happened to them, or if they just left. So they don't even know probably what happened.
So
it is a very good show.
It's a beautifully and thoughtful show, and it's hammering their reality. We're not going to gloss over it. They didn't have there was in some beautiful cross-country road trip with Lovecraftian monsters. Like, no, white people were absolutely evil to them.
I love that. I love the references in it. I love the whole beginning scene in the first one to have the Gordon Parks references as the way to show them going cross-country without actually showing the subtle, to show racism without getting into a full acting scene, how subtly, how inbred it was into the culture to have those references in there. So I thought that was dope.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What took me was I was kind of surprised because people were on Twitter like really surprised that at the Emmett Till scene, and I knew that from that moment that was Emmett Till. It's just like the subtle hues that really do it for me in this show a lot. Like I'm really thoroughly enjoying it. On the opposite end of the spectrum, further down the block, a couple years later, is P Valley. P Valley is fire. So
are we saying P Valley is fire just because of strippers? Or are we saying P Valley is fire?
No.
P Valley, of course not. We are people of taste.
I'm not.
We are thespians. Don't do that.
He's doing some shit right there. I don't know what. I'm not co-signing that.
I know that the reason that Josh likes it is that is not because of that. I'm asking Rob, is that the reason he likes the show? Because of the thick women.
Are you telling me I don't have coof? Are you telling me I don't have artistic integrity? You know what you're telling me?
You're from the Bronx, so we have to ask these questions.
Well, you have a New York Yankee fitted. Where's Yankee Stadium? In the Bronx. Relax. Pipe down. First and foremost, I love the show because of the character development. I love the duality with the characters. I love the fact that
character development as in the outfits that are worn from Monday to Sunday, or
Jesus Christ, no woman, no. I'm talking about the actual character development. I love because I'm not as far along as everybody else.
Yeah, I'm trying not to watch it week to week. I like to, because like those episodes run really quickly.
Yeah, they do.
But like I love Keyshawn's character. I love that, like, you know, I really like Uncle Clifford's character the most because I love the duality of him running a business. I guess I can say him. Yeah, I can say him. I love him running a business, but also running a family and community atmosphere within this business. Like when Keyshawn shows up, beat the fuck up with her baby in her hand, and instead of her saying like, yo, you gotta go figure that shit out, like they open that night and he's milking the baby and he's down there saying bitches need to get it together. And those are moments where like there's a real it breaks that fourth wall. Like these women are really going through things. Like of course I don't know what Shorty's going through so far, like with her past, but I know that's gonna come up in future episodes. I will say I didn't think that black man was into real estate. I thought he was with the FBI.
Yeah, I thought I was like, this is nigga. I was like, no, that's okay. Like a stripper is telling you, yo, you want to come inside, and you sitting there like, you know, I'm fine. I'm like, no, that's a setup. You taking pictures out here too? Like
in a suit, it's hot.
Yeah, it was definitely the ops. I love it. I love it because it's such a, like, yeah, it's stripping. Yeah, it's the strip club, but there's a true culture of you know, the strip club in the South. Like in many places, it's held with reverence. It's a place to come. It's a place to socialize. It's a place to express your own status. And I think that there is that reverence when they approach it, but also in the way that they explore the act of stripping. There's parts where you know they'll be performing and you'll just be zoned in to them like performing, like the actual physical demands that, you know, are go into actually stripping, and to the point where it's beautiful. There's nothing lustful. I don't necessarily, are they beautiful? Are they attractive? Of course, like thick as a motherfucker. But there's an artistry that you also have to respect in how they carry themselves on that stage, and I appreciate the care that the showrunner Katori Hall has put into all of that. Like, these ain't just women you think you're gonna try to rub one out to while you're watching the show. Like, I actually enjoy the show.
I wanted to, before you get into the next show, I wanted to discuss, because I don't think people are discussing it enough, is the BET Chronicles. The 2 parts that they have recently done since the last episode of the whole Master P story, No Limit story, and the Rough Rider story. And I could definitely say that, like, it's a 5-part documentary, each part. And I could definitely say that the No Limit part was really eye-opening, because I don't think I've always respected Master P because he had a lot of ownership and did a lot of early moves, but I don't think people understood the depth that he went to get the things to where he is now, and the things that he did, a lot of things he did before Hove and before Puffy, at a time when nobody knew that, and he honestly became like the sacrificial lamb to do those things, and got a lot of heat for it, what a lot of the other guys do now, and they get a lot of burn for it. He was doing it at a time when nobody was doing that. So I have like a newfound respect for him, and it kind of leading into what happened with C Murder and the recent discussions about C Murder, that more was discussed about how he got to the point where he wound up getting locked up, and also the Rough Rider story. I think there's a lot of things that we don't know about but a lot of kids don't know about Wad, Dean, and Siobhan, that family, and how they got to start the Rough Riders label, the producers that worked on Rough Riders, and all that backstory, and a lot more about DMX. I thought it was great. They gave a lot of background to a lot of how those records were formed, how the albums were formed, and a lot of the inner workings of those deals and how they became to be the things, and a lot of how also too that those deals and stuff became undone with the rise of Napster and the internet and stuff like that, and their new ventures and things like that. So I think the series is really good, and I don't think enough people are watching it, but I just think they're really good series about those labels that, really insightful stories about each like that.
Yeah, I've known a lot like about Master P. I think it's just because probably I have a lot of family, got older cousins and big homies from the South that recognize. I've heard some wild stories about Master P, like him with that, his unique negotiating method when it came to getting Snoop Dogg released out of his contract. Like, I understood that. I recognize that, but I also recognize it is absolutely true. Master P is the pioneer when it comes to business and hip hop. Like, a lot of the things that he did, he was the first to do it. And because he was an enterprising man and he saw the writing on the wall, and he secured this as far as generational is gone with Romeo. Like, Romeo is getting his bag. I gotta respect the fact that he's like, him and Bow Wow don't have to do a versus. They can do their own thing and make their own bag. I think that versus is a cultural movement right there, but I can respect like the enterprising nature of it all. And then with both the Rough Riders one and the No Limit one, there was those nuances that you never really knew about. Like, you didn't know those stories about how, like, what happened with those albums, why those particular, they were talking about Eve's album that he was stuck having to do without D because he had gotten into the accident and it was trash. And I was like, yeah, that album was trash. And it's like, oh, it's because this person who is the heart of the organization, as the soul of the artistic direction, that Rough Riders is taking. Yeah, he's battling for his fucking life.
I have not kept up with the Chie, and that's why I purposely interjected that part, because I have really not watched Chie this season. So this part, I'm literally have to.
Oh, it's yeah, it's heading into like power, empire, territory, because there's a plot point that they're using, and I think it was an absolutely important. I didn't particularly like the direction that they went with the girl's story. I don't actually remember most of their names when you're talking about the characters.
I haven't watched the Chi since season 2.
So let me look at the characters real quick. So Jake, Branch Taylor. Give me a second. Sorry, I cannot remember her name. Oh, okay. So Keisha, that's a shame. She was kidnapped. She was abducted. She was held captive. She was raped. And she was found by Ronnie. And pretty much who is one of the bigger OGs in the Chi. Reg was answering to him in the last season. He was running for fucking mayor against Lena Waithe.
What season are they in?
They're third season.
I guess I'll catch up.
So it's like I like the Shy it's excellently filmed. It really kind of gives you an idea of the love of in the heart, that is in the Shy. But it also is like the way they kind of is like kind of almost manipulative. Like I felt exhausted emotionally after watching those episodes. And
I stopped after Son was rapey. To be honest.
well, that was the second season. That was the end of the
Yeah.
second season. So they did kill off his character. I don't know. I it's getting to that point where I'm like, I'm probably gonna like watch it just because it's it's just that thing to watch, like Power coming back on Sunday. Like I'm obviously gonna watch the Book of Ghosts or whatever the fuck that shit is gonna be called. But
you need it.
like they definitely went a little wild. Like that plot point was really, really weird. I don't know how others might feel about it, and I'm definitely open, but on my timeline I never really saw very good things about the show, about the characters, about Lena Waithe's writing, about the plot points. Can we talk about I May Destroy You, since that season wrapped up?
I was literally going to suggest that, just because like HBO has really been making kind of very forward, very progressive entertainment for Black people. I mean, we've already like Insecure, they are going to have us in that story, but I just feel like HBO is letting Black creatives really explore other stories, and the fact that like the show is a true story, that's her story. The fact that happened between the time of her other Netflix show and that actually happened to her, and I think a lot of people, I feel like Black people are watching it, but I feel like they're not supporting it enough because it is it's the story is set in England. I mean, in London, it doesn't have a lot to do with our story. It doesn't have the same accent and stuff like that with us. So,
I had to put the captions on.
I feel like a lot of Black people aren't watching it because it's not us and it doesn't have Solange doing the music and all those trappings that a lot of people get into. But it's a great story about.
It's a good show.
It's about.
It's an incredible show, yeah.
About the society we live in, how women handle sex, how sex is handled between women, how sex is handled between men, and how when sexual assault has happened, how that can be handled wrong between women and men and older people and things like that. And I think the show's not getting talked about enough. But I feel like I love it. I really like how it's written. I really like how it kind of shows that everybody's problematic. And there's really like nobody is really a hero in the show, and nobody is really oddly a victim. Like it's all things of people handling stuff really.
It's human beings. It's humanity. Like it's a very real show. That shit happens. It's not could happen. That what happened in that show happens. And I understand that that's a very uncomfortable show to have to watch. A lot of people watch TV to escape. They ain't trying to think about, how sad things can be, how horrible things can be in this country, in this world. Excuse me. No matter if you're in England or in the U.S.
Well, just not here. So, but I will get into the scammer alert. A Grail of Minds is coming out. I'm very excited. I've wanted this shoe for a long time. The Oregon Jordan 5, probably one of my favorite shoes, all green, yellow, and black. We first saw it in 2013. Mark Wahlberg was wearing it, and it was a really big deal because we had never seen just like a college team shoe. Mm-hmm. So I love that they're putting a lot of the college team colors out to be released through Jordan Brand, and they're making them extremely premium.
It's because the NCAA trying to make money some other way, right? And these colleges trying to make money some other way because they can't put these kids out there for free anymore.
Well, the shoe doesn't really have, even though it is the colorway of it, it doesn't have a lot of the shoes that have come out, like the UNC 3s that came out this year and things like that. A lot of the shoes do not have, unfortunately, like the sample or the ones that are actually given to alumni athletes. A lot of the do not have the actual college symbol on it. The shoes most of the time just have the colorways of the same sample shoe that alumni is given, but the alumni, athletes, and friends of the program are given the actual one that has the school colors and the actual school logo and other, insignia things from the school on it. The ones that are from the public don't have any of that.
Like the what is it? The when I was in Portland, I saw the UNC 3, Jordan 3 with the UNC logo on the front and the back of the shoe. When we asked why that wasn't released that particular way, we were told that UNC didn't want it. They didn't want their school insignia on the shoe at all, so they pulled it, and that's why it doesn't have that. As well as there are some backlash with certain brands and public perception of colleges getting more money added to them. So if you put a college insignia on a shoe, you're going to have to give a percentage of that profit to the school. Yeah. So they're like, nah, fuck y'all. We're not giving y'all any more money because you already make money as is. But a lot of the colors are coming out in college colors. So the Oregon 5 is definitely one of my shoes on my list this year. It just got announced that Fragment Jordan 3s are releasing on September 17th. So Hishiro Fujiyami is putting out his second installment, Jordan, which is a big deal. It's very nice in quality. The color is trash. It's just black and white. It's just a black and white 3. But because it has 2 lightning bolts in the back of it, niggas are going to go apeshit. I already see the shoe is going to be like $3,000. Like, I guarantee you the shoe's going to be $3,000. But it's dope. We've seen it. It's very nice. It's going to be extremely limited to get. So good luck. I don't think anyone's going to get them. It's going to be one of those. It's going to be like when the first Fragment dropped. When the Fragment Jordan 1 dropped, everybody wanted it, but no one can get it.
I remember because me and Goodman were working at Beats when the first Fragment dropped because the Fragment Beats pill came out at the same time. Yeah. And it was impossible for us to even get the product, and we worked for the store. So I knew it was bad to get the sneakers. But I wanted to talk about Joe Freshgoods. Joe Freshgoods is dropping. He revealed his Adidas collab that he's doing, but it's only going to be a Chicago-only collab. So us in other states, will be no online release. It's only for Chicago. I think he has worked with the city of Chicago to set up a pop-up because the proceeds of it go to Chicago CPS so it's a lot of afford supplies for kids who are in the school system who don't have access to Wi-Fi and things like that, books and certain things. So a lot of most of the proceeds I think actually are going to Chicago CPS. The other thing that's coming out, we saw the limited release of the Union 4. There is another part of that release coming out to the public, a more wider release. Digital does not seem enthused because he couldn't get them. But there is going to be another release.
Water is wet.
And you know how Union goes. As in other things that are coming out, I don't think there's anything. Well, I saw today that they just announced that a Cold Wall is having an ISPA collab that they're making of the one shoe that Kanye seems to like. The price point is really high. It's gonna be $500. So that's gonna be crazy. Anything else is not like really confirmed. There's a lot of rumors floating around like about the Supreme TNs are coming out, but there's no date on those. Even though Nike released a thing about the collab, but there's not a date for the actual release of the shoes. So
Space Hippies, Space Hippie Dunks.
Space Hippies are cool, but
for 100% recyclable goods on the shoe, it's kind of fire. I think it's gonna be. At the trajectory that dunks are going now, if Travis wears it, it'll be $1 million. So there's that. Anything that Travis puts on, it's over. Like I've never seen. I watched a shoe that was $50, Goodman. Travis Scott put it on. It was on StockX for $1,200.
It's crazy.
It was an SB that no one wanted. Like no one wanted.
Like in Zoomies and PacSun and it shit's like now $1,200. I know somebody who actually had a pair of the shoe. They had them unworn, and they gave it to their nephew because nobody was wearing them. And the next week, Travis Scott wore it, and the nephew's like, "I'm not giving that shoe back." So, like, it's the finesse. The main big news today was that Travis Scott did, speaking of Travis Scott, he did announce that he's doing a collab with McDonald's. It's just basically the Cactus Jack meal. It's going to be like a burger. Like, it seems like it's going to be a quarter pounder with bacon and barbecue sauce. You get fries and a Sprite. It's like $6. He made special gear for the employees. I don't know what else. I don't know what else is going to be featured in the collab. Right now, it's just the Cactus Jack meal. It's a toy. I think there's a toy. Nobody has seen it, but like that's really it. I don't know how people are going to get it. It's probably going to be a zoo, but I mean, we saw what happened with Rick and Morty. They put out the sauce, and grown men almost kicked down the door at fucking McDonald's about the Szechuan.
Szechuan sauce is fire, though.
Szechuan sauce. So, like, I'm sure the hype beasts who are even more obsessed with Travis Scott is going to be very dangerous to get whatever the special item is that he's going to put with the meal that comes out, I think, on the 6th.
Yo, Goodman, you remember Action League Now?
Yeah, what about it?
And you know the lava man that was just like melted, like he was just melted? That's gonna be the Travis Scott. They're gonna have a Travis Scott doll, and you can just light it on fire, and it just yells it's lit. It's gonna be one of the things. Kids are gonna go crazy. Like I already see that's where it's gonna go.
Make an adult Happy Meal. Like I think that all kids who are having an obsession with McDonald's iconography, your main thing you prefer, especially as a kid, is a Happy Meal. So I don't know why he wasn't allowed to make like a special box that you can get the meal in and the toy and adults could pay for. Because it's like, I don't know, but fine. I'm sure McDonald's is going to get their money. They're going to get their bread. I mean, Travis Scott, he got 30 million people to watch a video game. Those are the numbers. He got 30 million people to watch Fortnite. And
it's a force of nature.
Yeah, so like it doesn't matter really anything he puts his name onto. He's going to get the crowds there. It's going to be provocative. It gets the people going, and that's all the companies care about in this point in quarantine. That's really it.
My question is, and then we'll end it. What is your favorite McDonald's toy as a kid, or iconography, or memorabilia?
McDonald's toy probably.
It was definitely something from the Goofy movie whenever that came out.
I would probably say the Batman movies, but either the Batman movies because like I had a lot of the Batman toys. I would say 3. I just gotta say 3. I say a Batman related one, the Tiny Toon Adventures collection because I had a lot of the Tiny Toon characters.
Yeah, they were huge for some reason. I collected all of them.
I had all of them, and the actual ones when they actually did the meals where it turned into the McDonald's items into the dinosaurs or the robots. I had all the McDonald's toys. I still had them. The McDonald's, the hot cake package, it turns into the dinosaur. I had the Happy Meal that turns into the dinosaur. I have a lot of the actual, McDonald's actually made a toy of their things. I always bought them, so I still have all those McDonald's toys.
I promised myself that when I move in my next apartment, I will have the whole collection of Batman Forever glasses from McDonald's. That is the only thing I want to drink out of.
I got my Mickey ones, so.
Yo, I mean, like, with all due respect, though, I don't know if anything McDonald's put out is sleeping on the watches that Burger King like to put out.
Those Rugrat watches were a move. And
the Jurassic Park watches with the scale bands. My nigga, I went up to Woodhull Hospital every day.
Woodhull, bro.
To that Burger King on Broadway.
Wow.
Trying to get that Raptors watch.
That was a hard watch to get at the time.
My nigga. I'm sorry, like, with all due respect to McDonald's, but Burger King
had a couple in there that flat.
Bro, that Reptar Burger King watch was different. It was. That was a moment. And the Tommy Pickles joint, a baby's got to do what a baby's got to do. Incredible. It was. And the Angelica one that said "stupid babies," like it was. That is iconic. That is iconic. Those are iconic moments.
I'm sorry. I'm getting on eBay right now and seeing if I can find that motherfucking Raptors watch.
forgot them shit.
I'm pretty sure it's like 120.
No, that was bought for a Happy Meal toy that was $1 back then.
Ooh. This
If you
time
really
watch
wanna-
is 15.
If you really want to keep it a stack, I'm really about to show my age. My favorite Burger
Nigga,
King
you're the
toy-
youngest person in this
I know.
podcast.
I am. But I don't think you were in. Well, the Pokemon cards when they came in gold plated bars, and they came.
Oh
in
yeah, from
Pokemon
McDonald's.
from Burger King. That was Burger King.
Burger King. See.
Yes,
And you pressed it, and you pressed the Pokeball, and it opened, and it had like the little gold plated. That was a
Mewtwo,
moment.
that shit was insane.
I never Pokemon. I was always loyal to McDonald's. Like McDonald's always had the heat, so I was always occasionally Burger King had a couple of heaters because that Jurassic Park one and the Rugrats one would slap. But I was very loyal to McDonald's because there was a McDonald's up the street. And Jersey, Happy Meal things weren't that big here until the Beanie Baby.
Yeah.
The Beanie Baby one was like insanity. Like adults were fucking up kids at the McDonald's for the Beanie Babies. But before, I remember in New York, I couldn't get any McDonald's toys. But in Jersey, I would come to Jersey, and actually Jersey, they would sell you the whole set early.
Yeah, they did do that. They were like, "Oh, I know we know you want these toys. You just want them."
So, and I remember in New York, I could never get the certain ones because they'd be like, "Oh, well, we haven't released this." But in Jersey, you would go over across the bridge, and they'd be like, "Well, if you want to pay for the whole set, we'll charge you $5, $1 each toy, and you pay for it, and you just get it straight out. You don't have to buy no food." But I remember in New York, they would never let you buy the pack before it came out, even though they had it.
What a time. Mr. Goodman, take us to Deadass Weekly.
Deadass Weekly. Yeah, it's
Trash.
Yeah, it's looking pretty bleak. There was a memo released from the Trump White House that they're reviewing funding to state and local government recipients that are permitting anarchy, violence, and destruction in American cities. So basically, they're citing the rise in shootings in New York, right here, as well as the police funds reduction during the, when we're talking about defunding the police and the budget negotiations. I mean, all those reductions amounted to an overtime cap, canceling 2 academy classes, and moving school safety to another agency. And shootings have risen across the fucking country. Like, they keep like saying that, like, oh, these are Democrat countries, Democrat-controlled cities. Like, Republican-controlled cities are also dealing with a lot of violence. And you know why? It's because of a fucking pandemic and the collapse of our economy that happened on Trump's watch. Like, so the idea that he wants to blame somebody else for something that happened on his watch is really asinine. But I don't appreciate this dick measuring contest that him and Cuomo are going through. Like, there's still a lot of people here who are suffering and need assistance and need support. But I mean, at the same time, it's like it's New York. Like, this is what happens. Like, sometimes it's really fucking tough living in the city. or harder than usual. So,
well, we see the transplants are moving out. They're getting the fuck out of here. They want no parts of New York no more. They are
really sad that Fifth Avenue and Tribeca are not as popping as they used to be. From what I see everything popping around me. Like, everybody, like, bars are back open. Shit, dollar stores are flourishing now. Everybody's wearing a mask. I don't know what's going on in Lower Manhattan or Midtown, but like I do see the occasional like shipping truck. People are moving out, but it's New York, man. You've been through. This city has been through worse,
bro. Let me say something. Rent right now, bro. I'm waiting. I feel like if I just wait another month, I can get me a 1-bedroom for $1,100. It's getting there. It is getting there. The way, like, I was talking to some real estate friends. They were telling me that the average 1-bedroom apartment in January of 2020 was $1,750, $1,700 to $1,900. for a 1-bedroom. We are at right now 14 to 1600 for a 1-bedroom apartment because people are moving out as fast as they are. Things are changing. I don't know what that says for the Bronx. The Bronx could be it could be different, but we are watching the city change.
Yeah, but it's not the first time it's going through change.
No, I mean the fair is back. Fuck you, MTA.
They really do. They keep saying they're having a shortfall, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Good, bitch.
I fucking hate the MTA. The niggas are terrorists.
They're not
organized crime.
They're not charging the person. They're not firing the dude that drove his SUV through protesters in Times Square. Let me get this motherfucker's name. He was arrested and then released. Let me get because so they decided that they will not fire this guy. It's always impossible to find William Worm Jr. What a fucking name.
Worm?
Yeah. Spelled with a U, but like doesn't matter. Yeah, so he drove through, ran over a bunch of endangered protesters' lives. Granted, his back tires were slashed, but I'm sure he had that coming. But they decided not to fire him, so fuck the MTA.
It's still fuck the MTA until you can say it backwards.
I like that one. Who'd you steal it from?
I came with that one myself. I really feel like that. Fuck them niggas. Fuck them niggas. How dare you reinforce the fair when niggas is still in a pandemic and 2/3 of the city is still not working? Suck my dick. I hate them. I dead ass hate them. Now I have to talk like an 18-year-old. I dead ass hate them, bro. Like, no cap. I hate them.
No, you sound like a 30-plus-year-old trying to sound like a teenager. That's what you sound like.
That's fair. Schools are trash too. Talk about that.
So they're pleading to delay the reopening even later. They were scheduled to with a blended approach on September 10th, but they've actually managed to get it pushed back. In-person learning in New York was pushed back until September 22nd. No, excuse me, 21st, with remote learning set to begin on September 16th. And this is the same. Like, you might actually, they're kids, I don't know about the high school students, but, like, they're kids. Like, fuck this corona shit.
Well,
good luck on trying to get them to, like, I think it's ridiculous. Like, yeah, just because, like, we shut down the city, we shut down the state for months, and now to protect people. And y'all won't even meet in person to have these conversations, but you want to send kids? You want to send kids back to school, but you won't meet in person to discuss sending them back to school.
And you won't give teachers EPP pay for going back to school to teach. And
they fired that teacher that had OnlyFans, and I was like, help sis out. Look at the link. She looked thick. She need our support as much as anything. Don't shame her.
That's the way you think, Jay. Mother of the Mixies. Also, what they've done in some weird fashion, Cuomo gave $420 to each high school student in EBT. And he's been mailing it out. So now kids are walking around with EBT cards, which is very interesting because I know they're going to fight the op for a hot sandwich. So we know this is going to get very interesting.
A lot of places in Cali and New York have already said they're not accepting the cards. Because a lot of places in Cali are not accepting the unemployment cards they gave people. A lot of the hotels.
Really?
You're not accepting that unemployment card we got. So don't think you're getting a suite at the Marriott. It's clipped. We know that's an unemployment card. Get out of here.
Well, I mean, most of the hotels in New York City is going to shit anyway because they're like $2 to spend a night at. So the whole hood is in there. All you see is the zoo bottles, 1942 bottles in front of it.
On the rooftop on the balcony of the hotel. It's a zoovie.
What are you talking about? It's a zoovie. That's
like it's a zoovie. Hey.
yeah. You know what I mean? Because what's a party without Casamigos? So it's not a party if there's no Casamigos in a zoo. I mean, I'm not drinking unless the bottle makes a bell sound. I'm like, what?
Period. Unless packaging, I ain't drinking it.
Yeah, and I gotta be able to hashtag check the seal, the 40-ounce Vans on my 1942 bottle.
Seal check 40. I'm lit tonight. Seal check 40. You're disenfranchising the youth out here. You should be talking about masks and these kids are outside trying to drink. Okay, this is your fault.
Yeah.
The pandemic continues. It's your fault, and your promoter ass. Okay?
He's a great guy, but like anything he touches turns into gold. So now, like, kids are like, nah, we're not wearing masks and we're buying bottles. There's a party this week called Bel Air versus Don Perignon.
What?
No, you young niggas need to fucking relax.
We'll borrow. You don't gotta say the party. We'll borrow.
It's a rooftop party.
All right.
It's a rooftop party in Manhattan, but the party is thrown by people in the Bronx.
Okay.
I saw the flyer.
There you go.
2-bottle minimum to get in.
So,
women are free.
Extending from all this this coronavirus talk, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is not more good news. I'm gonna read the title, and you're gonna think it is, and then I'm gonna continue to explain what's going on here. CDC extends eviction moratorium for tenants who can't pay rent to the end of 2020. So it does ban evictions across the country for those who are making $99,000 a year or who have received the coronavirus, the stimulus check. But a lot of people never got that stimmy, so they're going to be exempt from this this protection. It's for, you have to declare that you're unable to pay rent due to lost income or extraordinary out-of-pocket medical expenses, and that you've tried to pay some rent or seek government assistance.
You have to pay like 25% on rent, something like that.
You must certify an eviction would force you into homelessness or shared living conditions.
Why do I have to prove that? I don't have a place to stay. That's all you need to know.
And renters have to sign a statement acknowledging that their landlord could require the rental payments in full as soon as the moratorium expires, which is January 1st, 2021.
So if you sign up for this thing and they say that you can't be evicted, the minute that the deadline's up, you have to pay all the back rent in full. That's a setup.
No, but you know what also it is? I'm not gonna lie. That's a mess, but also there's niggas out here that's not paying their rent. And it's a conversation that needs to be had. There's a lot of
stimulus who have got unemployment and they're dead ass not paying it.
Yeah.
Well, they're still working and not paying it.
And we can't differentiate the people who needed that money and that's why they didn't pay it, or niggas who just didn't want to pay it.
It doesn't matter. It don't matter. Like you're talking about a small subset of people probably that are bragging about some shit on Twitter. I'm like, there are millions probably. There are millions of people that need this.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that like
Twitter narrative of like,
it's like the idea of like, oh, we should give them a stimulus check because it's not going to push them to go back to work. Like people want to go back to fucking work. People don't want to depend. You know how many fucking hoops local governments, state governments make you jump through to collect unemployment? A lot of people don't want that shit. They just need fucking help. And like they assume the worst of people is ridiculous. I mean, great. Now, if you catch somebody doing that shit, then yeah, you make them pay. or you make, or in whatever way, whether it be restitution, whether it be a fine, whether it be jail time, but there's still millions of people who are so. You just said it. 2/3 of the city is out of work. 2/3 of the city needs support for their housing. And it's not just people that might be trying to get over it. There's just people. And don't be lumping. Don't do that. Don't people need help. People need help out here. And you think this shit is hot. Like, we're looking at the people, that are now outside, that are angry, that are resorting to violence and whatnot. But you know what? There's still average people out here that would love to make it. And you know what? How are they?
Yeah.
So
that's a fact.
How did y'all feel about that day-long strike from the NBA?
Michael Jordan continues to be an op, and there's nothing we can do about it. God damn it. I hate him, and I love him at the same time.
I was okay with it. At the end of the day, the players have agreed to play. And as Carrie Champion said, if LeBron playing, we playing. Those niggas are not forfeiting a season. Especially, LeBron, I knew that they wanted to do it to show that they can. To show that they're a league that cares enough that they can do that. I think that was more of the thing. We care enough that we can, at times, put aside the game and just take a moment to reflect. I think people thought that they were just going to cancel the whole season. I'm like, no, these people are still ball players. And now, I think that would have happened before they got to the bubble. Once the bubble started, I knew they wasn't canceling nothing. They've already started. They've already gotten back into the swing of playing. The playoffs has started. Those niggas want to get a ring, period. That's still money for them. That still changes a lot for them when they get a ring and when they don't. They still have families to feed or, counties to fund, other projects. Some of those people, they take care of a lot of people. So they still want to make money. But I just thought that it was nice that they showed that they can. They're like, we're not the NFL, we're the plantation league where, if we say something, we're going to get whipped or we're going to get treated like Kaepernick. I think it was just the power to show that we can. And we have a league that supports that. And I thought that was dope.
I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks said we're not playing, and 20 minutes later was talking to the Attorney General of Milwaukee. When niggas couldn't get that nigga on the phone for a minute, that says something. I think that we are in a place now where black people are like, yo, we are not, the black elites are like, we're not shucking and jiving until our fellow men and women in color get right.
And I think it was especially powerful for a lot of those players to stop, because a lot of those players in certain states, especially the Milwaukee Bucks, have been victims of profiling themselves and police violence. Because they were like, hey, y'all talk about, oh, but you're a player, just shut up and dribble with your life, but I don't wear this fucking jersey when I leave this arena. And all they see when they pull me over is I'm a young black man in an expensive-ass car. Probably I got a lot of jewelry on me, and I'm playing in a podunk state like fucking Milwaukee or Minnesota or Utah, and I'm making millions, and all they see is a black nigga behind the wheel, and they wonder why. And some of these cops do not recognize those players when they're not on that fucking court. They may be rooting for them on Sunday, and they be the same one trying to pull them over on Monday.
Yeah.
They did it.
Well, I it was a day. If they did it, they could have did nothing. They could have just played their games.
But it means something though, right? Good men, it does mean something. It means that they're not numb. And I think that's where we're at. Players are especially the black players are like, yo, we're not numb to the shit that you're doing. And we're not going to go by and just annually watch this shit happen. We will stop entertaining you people if we deem it necessary to get what we want. And it's very different from artists. Because artists can be like, I'm just not going to put out music. You're like, well, that's your artistic integrity. You don't have to do that. But the athletes who have endorsement deals and these teams that have endorsed. It's the same thing when the college players was like, yo, we're not playing. When the college football players was like, yo, we're not playing. That's where we have to go to get real reform, especially when the sports, 85% of the people playing is black. In every sport, with the exception of baseball and golf, and maybe hockey.
I mean, they walked off the Brewers. Salute to them, because in solidarity with the Bucks, they walked off as well.
I think it's just great because we live in a society. We live in a point right now where a lot of the celebrities are tone deaf, as we saw in this time of quarantine, of how tone deaf with such big issues. And I appreciate that. I get that they're not going to cancel the season. I get that they still want to play because they're athletes and they want to play, and they've already started playing, so they're not going to cancel it once it started. Again, but I feel like they just want to show that we hear you, we see you, and we are aligned with what is the culture is moving towards. And we're not. And I feel like a lot of the artists are not doing it. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of artists are like, guess what? I would love to protest and not put out music, but I got a 360 deal, and I still got to make this fucking music. So a lot of the artists are not in a position. The NBA players are in a good position. Their money's guaranteed. So a lot of them already had their contract money. There's different with artists. A lot of artists are like, fuck the race war, fuck the revolution. I need this bag. So I feel like the NBA players are fortunately in a spot where they're like, we are getting our money. We're going to get our money regardless. But we want to show that we care about what's happening to our family members and other cousins, brothers, sisters, and what has even happened to some of us. So I thought it was nice.
I will not. I'm not going to, like, I salute them. They did something that they didn't have to do. And I will say the limits that we need to be prepared to go are this. The Montgomery bus boycott lasted from December 5th, 1955 to December 20th, 1956. Over a year that they decide to withdraw their money from this system, because that's really what it comes down to. Like, this capitalist system is basically just racist, you know, and like that's what matters is the money. And that's so you have to hit.
Speaking of that, I just want to point out, my man LeVar got $5,000 from Virgil Abloh for his project that he's doing to build a building in Manhattan for underprivileged youth and black creatives.
Okay, so like moving on to Sturgis. And this is what we're talking about with these old motherfuckers that we were talking that, you know, are also being irresponsible. The Sturgis motorcycle rally was last month. One person has officially, unfortunately, died from COVID. He was known to have attended the rally. Health officials in 12 states have linked over about 263 cases to the rally. An estimated 365,000 people attended that rally from August 7th to August 16th. So if we think that this is the last time we're going to hear about some 50-plus-year-old person trying to rekindle the freedom in life from before COVID, yeah, you're going to hear about a lot more of them having to battle this virus. Because, I mean, numbers don't lie. And, I mean,
one thing they don't do.
Like, you know, a lot of states are withdrawn when it comes to testing. Like, if you went to this rally, if you ain't have a mask on, the likelihood of you even, like, getting tested, probably low. So I suspect we're going to start seeing some more COVID-related news as it relates to Sturgis. And that's both Deadass Weekly or Deadass Monthly and Live from the Mountaintop.
Let's just end it here. Arrest Jonathan Mattingly, Brett Hanskin, and Miles Cosgrove for the murder of Breonna Taylor.
Why did you do that? I have it. I can get the names down.
All right, go ahead. I butchered it. I'll edit it. Go
And finally, arrest Jonathan Mattingly, Brett Hankison, and Miles Cosgrove for the murder of Breonna Taylor.
I don't have no adulting topic. That's where we at with it.
He's also tired.
Very tired. I don't know how long this episode is, but hey, you're getting them like once a month because shit ain't really moving like that. So we appreciate the listeners for always listening and being loyal. You don't have to listen to us, but you do. It's really, really, really a passion project, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. You already know what it is. It's public service announcement. It's never a safe space. We only do it for the culture. We never do it for the industry.
Stay safe.
All right.
This has been a public service announcement with Robbie Digital, Bones, and Saul Goodman. If you enjoyed the podcast and would like to check out past and future episodes, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes at Public Service Announcement, and subscribe on SoundCloud at PSA NYC Squad. You can also check out additional content on Twitter and Instagram at PSA NYC Squad. It's lit.